Okay, so welcome back to the next session of the seventh week on managing change in organizations. And previous to this session, I have been talking about innovation and change. Now, we are going to further discuss about this, that how innovation and change could be linked with each other, and I will give you some examples, especially related to the products in the technology field. Now, one question that comes out, that why innovation is important, right. So, the innovation basically, as I told you, happens either in product, processes or services, and this could be related to one thing that we call the technology. It means technology is an important parameter so far as innovation is concerned, right. And there is a technology cycle, and when we are talking about technology cycle, is you know that there is a technology which comes out initially, and then this technology matures at one stage, and then this technology goes out, and the technology is replaced by either a new technology or a better technology. So, this is known as technology cycle, right. Now, this technology cycle is very important, because of this change in the technology, whether you are going for a new technology, better technology, lot of changes happens in the organization in terms of products, in terms of services, because you are using a new technology for providing the same services. Look at some of the examples, like the kind of technology the banks used to have earlier, and the kind of technology that banks use today in terms of providing better services to their clients and the customers, in terms of online services, internet banking, right. Maybe tomorrow they are going to bring about a new technology, and it is going to replace the existing technology to further provide more quality services to their employees, right. So, that this technology keep on changing, right. For example, if you look at say televisions, you know that earlier you used to have TVs which were a different kind of TVs, like they were manufactured based on say analog principles. Then you know that LCD TV came, then you have say LED TVs, now you have ultra HD TVs, right. So, this you can say that this is a technology cycle which keep on changing, okay. And with this change, lot of changes also happens, right. So, we will talk about how the technology cycle changes, because it is related to innovation, and this is the most important innovation that happens. Second is the innovation streams, right. What is the innovation that is happening? What kind of innovations are happening over a period of time, which is going to help the company to have some kind of advantage on a sustainable basis, right. So, basically in this lecture we will be talking about technology cycles and innovation streams in a detail. Now, coming to the technological innovations, and that is where we will talk about what actually happens when you are going to replace an old technology with a better technology or a new technology, right. So, if you look at the technology cycle, you get a curve, something which is known as the S curve. See, if it looks like an S, and here also it looks like an S, right. And this is where the technology keep on changing. This is a discontinuity, it means this technology has changed to this is the old technology and this is the new technology. Now, if you look at the performance of the old technology, there is a steep slope you can see starting with the beginning, point A in this curve, S curve, right. It means that this technology has been giving good results in terms of effort that you are going to put in, but up to a certain level, right. So, it has been giving good results up to this point, beyond that it is not going. So, one example that is given is like Intel, they have followed this kind of pattern. Okay. So, if you look at Intel chips, the incremental changes that they are trying to bring about, right. So, like you have Pentium 1, 2, 3, 4, so they keep on changing the technologies, right. So, there is this kind of slope is achieved. What next? Once this technology matures, then it gives you better performance. So, see how the performance is improving. Up to this point there is a slope, the performance is more or less consistent, but once the technology is established, then it gives better results. So, the slope changes, right. This is represented by this point, that is B on this S curve, right. So, a steeper slope indicates what? That a small amount of effort will give significant increase in the performance. So, the performance has suddenly gone up, but what happens then? Then you go for discontinuation, the technology changes, right. It means that if you further develop this technology, it is not going to provide you good results. So, you go for discontinuation. So, you bring a new technology. So, the new technology is supposed to perform better, but it would also have a similar characteristics. Initially, it gives consistent results, then it improves as it matures, and then again giving consistent results. And then again beyond this, again you need to go for some kind of discontinuity to bring about a new technology. So, at point C, what actually happens? It means that if you want to further develop this technology, it is not going to help. So, you need to bring out new technology, because it is not going to increase your performance any further. So, the result is like this, right. Now, when you are going to see the performance of the technology and the effort that you put in to continue with the same technology and the new technology, you can see the relationship. You find a curve, something that is called S curve, right, which is related with technological innovation. So, what does it basically indicates is that you need to bring about new technology, or you need to say go for some kind of modifications in your present technology to ensure that it consistently works and provide you effective performance, right. And that is where this technological innovation is very, very important, and you need to see that continuously you keep on changing. Now, if you look at this technology cycle over a period of time and how this is related with innovation, you can see that if the companies want to really achieve some kind of competitive advantage, then they need to ensure that new and innovative ideas and products keep on coming from the companies, right. So, it starts with what you call the technological discontinuity, right. It means that here you have gone for some kind of discontinuity, you need to bring about new technology by replacing older technology, and this new technology is better in terms of its performance, right. So, moving further, when we are talking about a technological discontinuity, what actually happens that you want to bring about a new technology, right, which is related to better performance, right. Now, this technology is related is followed by what? A discontinuous change. What I mean by discontinuous change is that you want to bring about a change which is not a continuous change. It means that you have changed the technology, you have gone out with a new technology, right. It means that you have substituted old technology with the new technology, which has a different design, right. So, this is actually leads to what you call technological substitution. It happens when organizations go for new technologies to replace the older technologies, right. And this is what we call the discontinuous changes. It means that old technology and the new technology compete to establish a new technological standard, right. So, you are moving from old technology to the new technologies. So, the old technology also compete, but it is not going to survive in the long run, because you have substituted it with a new technology, right. And this is followed by emergence of a dominant design. What does it mean? It means that now the market has accepted the new standard for the technology, right. So, this new technology is now the emergent, the new design, the new technology, right. It means you have moved from experimentation and competition to incremental change. It means that you have gone for a new technology, right, where companies are going to innovate. How? By lowering the cost and improving the performance. The idea is that if you innovate, it is going to help you to cost effective, increase your efficiency and quality, right. And all this is related to either discontinuous changes or continuous changes, or what you call incremental changes, right. It happens like this. See what actually happens. So, it starts with what? Technological discontinuity, right. it is related to discontinuous changes. It is then you have a dominant design which is related to incremental changes, right. So, you start with here technological discontinuity, discontinuous change, dominant design this. So, this is the one, then again you move to when you substitute this technology with the new technology, you select a new technology, then you go for some kind of substitution of the technology. It means from this technology you have moved to a new technology, but this new technology again need to be replaced or substituted by a new technology. So, this again you can have these kind of things, you move further and you can make a graph like this. Here you have a what you call technological substitution, and you will have the same cycle of this technology. So, this is what we call the technology cycle. You go for discontinuity replacing the old one, it is called discontinuous change. This is going to be accepted and it becomes a part of what you call the incremental change in the organization. Then again you go through the same process or the same cycle where you are going to substitute a technology with a better or new technology, right. Moving further, if you look at this, this is what actually happens. Technological discontinuities, discontinuous change, dominant design, right. Now, discontinuous change is related to technological substitution and design competition. These are the examples. See how things how this is being replaced by another technology, or how this is the new standard technology which has been accepted now, right. So, when we are talking about innovation streams and technology cycle, it is very much linked with change, whether you talk about incremental changes or say discontinuous changes. So, when we are talking about innovation stream and we say that it starts with a technological discontinuity, where you are going to have a new technology, right, where you have created a new technology, which is followed by discontinuous changes, right, again characterized by substitution and design competition. Now, when we are talking about discontinuous changes, it is followed by emergence of a dominant design, that is the accepted new standard accepted in the technology field of technology, right. How it is emerging? These are the parameters. It means that most of the people have started using it. Now, if you look at the mobiles, now people have moved and most of the people today are using smartphones. So, the technology that is being used by smartphones are different from the earlier phones. So, most people use it and it is helping them to solve their problems related to different kind of activities, okay. And it is independent standards bodies, right. Another example that is given here, where you have moved from the portable radios, you know that earlier you used to have radios which you can take from one place to another place, to cassette players, video cassette recorders, or what you call Walkman. Now, that is was replaced again by CD player, right, where you can store music on computer chips. Then you move to the digital music players today, right. So, see how technology keeps on changing. So, this is an example where the technological discontinuity change happens, right, and this technological discontinuation leads to what you call emergent of a dominant design, and that is accepted by everybody, but this is a cycle which keep on changing. So, this shows that how technology keep on changing, right. Moving further, if you look at the sources of innovations, as I talked to you earlier also, creativity is very important. So, management has to see that how they are going to create a environment which is creative. It means that you need to develop a culture where people perceive that new ideas are encouraged. One example that I would like to give here is of a company like 3M. 3M is one of the most innovative companies in the world, which basically come out with a maximum number of patents and products. Now, if you look at the work environment in 3M, you will find that even risks if people take and they fail, that is equally celebrated. It means, even if you experiment with a new idea and you do not succeed, management is going to support you. So, this kind of culture is required where you are able to encourage new ideas for people to experiment with, right. We talked about 3 strategies: go for experimentation with the new ideas, right. So, from the inventors you move to champions, you make sure that the people to support, then the sponsors to provide resources, and the critic who are going to see that whether your idea is going to work on certain parameters or not, right. So, it is very, very important to ensure that you are able to create a work environment which is good. It means that you are going to create an enabling culture to ensure that people are ready to take risks, right, and accordingly you need to bring about a change in your structure and culture to ensure that people come out with new ideas. And the second thing is flow. It is basically is a state of psychological state of effortlessness. You become absorbed in your work and time seems to pass quickly. It means that unless this flow is not there, it is not possible for you to get involved in your work wholeheartedly and come out with something that could be called as new. So, we will discuss these 2 points further to see how it happens. So, we start with creativity, as we have already talked about it. So, creativity is the production of novel and useful ideas. So, creativity is called as the process and innovation is the outcome, right. So, you also need to ensure that employees are going to be more creative, right, and if they are creative only then you can think about the innovation. So, and for that you need to create a work environment which is creative, right, where they think that yes, their ideas, their thoughts are welcome and valued and organization is ready to support and sponsor it, right. So, you need to provide them challenging work opportunities, because that is required for creativity. So, it becomes an you can say antecedent for creativity, right, and also go for some kind of rewarding experience. So, make sure that they get absorbed in it by providing all kind of support which is required and there is no obstacles, and then only this flow could be created, right. So, that you are involved in what you are doing and there is no obstacle or barrier for you to think anything else, right. So, that people can focus and concentrate on what they have been doing, right. So, that they could be more creative and innovative. So, this creativity and this flow is very, very important. This is what actually happens. Okay. So, how the flow comes out? Look at it. Support from the top management team is very much required. Then support from the organizations encouragement, you have gone for a challenging work, and also there is a lack of organizational impediments. It means there is no obstacles and barriers. So, if you look at these factors, which is very, very important, and that is what I have been talking about earlier also, especially for innovation, what you require? A person who comes out with a good idea, right, which can be testable, to ensure that whether it is viable for the companies to go for this kind of product or services, right. Then you need people who are going to support. So, idea champions are required, they will come over here, right. Then you also need sponsors who are going to provide you all kind of supports, and then you also require freedom. Freedom in the sense that you should in the structure you need to see that this hierarchy or the control system is not going to interfere in the activities that you are doing. So, you are given full freedom, autonomy is required, empowerment is required, so that you can take decision related to what you want to do. And then this would enable you to create a environment which could be considered as a creative work environment. And if this happens, only then this flow will come out. It means people uninterruptedly work on the problems without any hesitation, take risks and come out with something that could be called as innovative in nature, right. So, what we are going to discuss now is what are the approaches that is taken, especially during continuous changes and discontinuous changes, or what we call discontinuous changes, which is more radical in nature, and incremental changes. Now, when we talk about managing innovations during in discontinuous changes, we adopt a experiential approach. Experiential approach is where the person himself is going to experience that, learn from his experiences, intuitions, right. So, through these experiences are what you call the intuitions and other things are experiences that the people have, they are going to come out with something that could be called innovative, right. One research study I have quoted here, where it was found that 72 product development projects related to innovation, especially in 36 companies, especially computer companies across the US, Europe and Asia. It is not a single country, but in 3 continents you can see US, Europe and Asia. It was found that companies that succeeded in periods of discontinuous change followed an experiential approach to innovation. It means some of the innovations have come out of this innovation, where they have a flexibility and also experience. So, these are very, very important when it comes to innovation, right. Then moving further, if you look at this, what does it include? When we are talking about experiential approach, it includes that yes, they could bring about a change, they can think about whether they can bring about a change in the product design, they can test it. They could also identify milestones to ensure their success. At each stage, they can define some tangible outcomes that need to be achieved, and that could show whether they are progressing on the right path or not. And they also need a team, multifunctional teams and powerful leaders. Powerful leader is actually is going to encourage and support these kind of things. So, if a person is allowed to use his intuition and experience to come out with something new in terms of products, processes, services, let him try, okay. Test the idea, identify the milestones for success, create a team which is going to support and be a part of it, and it is to be supported by the powerful leaders, so that he is able to come out with something which could be considered as new or innovative in nature. It could be anything, it could be product, it could be a process, it could be a service also. So, you can see that how this experience of the employees is going to facilitate innovation, provided these triggers are available in the organization. So, look at this, what does it mean when we are talking about the experiential approach? Design iterations mean that where you are going to test a prototype of a new product or service, or when you want to improve on the design and then build and test it to see whether the improved product or service is working or not. So, this is what we call design iteration. It means you go through a lot of repetitions where you are going to test a new product or services, you go for improving the design and then again building and testing it to ensure its functionalities, right. Then coming to the product prototype, it means based on these design iterations, you have come out with a product which you want to see whether it is working or not. It is a full scale working model which is tested for design, function and reliability, because unless you develop a prototype and test whether it is really working, you cannot move further, right. And if you find that yes, it is working, it is functional, it is consistently giving good results, then you can go for commercialization of this kind of product. And if you find that it is not working at this stage, then you can leave it. So, from product prototype you move to the next stage, that is testing. You are going to test it, right. For example, when a new drug is developed, right, it is tested on animals to start with, to see whether it is really working or not. So, any product prototype which is there need to be ensured that whether it is going to work or not, and then you have review points or milestones where you look at the progress, right. So, the drug is tested on certain periods on animals to ensure whether the drug is working effectively or not, okay. And then it is used on humans, and then you do go for some kind of experimentation of these drugs with the human population to ensure its functionalities, right. And then you have a team which is going to be a multifunctional team, which is going to see that how they can use your prototype for commercial activities. So, you will have people from the technical department, marketing department, manufacturing department, who is going to see that how your product can be worked out to ensure that it is going to be viable, right. And then you will also need support from the powerful leaders, those who want to encourage innovation, who want you to take risks, right, and they want to see that this is a continuous process where you keep on innovating, innovating products and processes. So, experiential approach is very, very important when it comes to innovation, and why we talk about here especially related to change, because any kind of innovation is related to change only, where you are trying to bring about a change in the product, process or services. Then as we have talked about discontinuous changes, we also need to look at what happens during incremental changes. So, adopt a compression approach. It means that yes, is a predictable process which is very much planned. So, when you go for incremental changes, what happens? You systematically improve the performance of the current product by improving the cost, lowering the cost, improving the efficiency, increasing the productivity. It means that the dominant technical design is there, a standard accepted design is there. What you do? You bring about some changes in the features of the technology or the product. For example, there is a smartphone. So, you add a new feature to it, right. You do not change the phone or the characteristics of the phone, because this is standard accepted technology that you have used to make a product, right. For example, it is 3 GB, you make it 4 GB, you can increase the capacity from 32 GB to 64 GB, right. So, if these kind of incremental changes happens, the idea is that it is going to help you to improve the performance by lowering the cost, but the dominant design remains same, right. It means you are talking about generational change, incremental improvement to a dominant design, achieving backward compatibility with its older technology. So, that your technology is not changing, but you ensure that while the new feature is added with the product, the technology remains same and it is compatible. So, it works, right. Otherwise, what will happen? You move to discontinuous changes, where you come out with a new technology or a new product or services, right. And that is the major difference when we are talking about incremental changes and discontinuous changes. Moving further, what happens in this incremental changes? So, you plan about the change, involve others, see what are the steps that is required, and then you have a team which is going to support you, right. So, when we are talking about incremental changes, you also go through a process through which you are able to bring about some kind of changes in the existing products by either modifying it or adding certain new features, and you have a support team which is going to be from marketing, R&D and say manufacturing, which is going to ensure that this new product or the modified product is coming out. Now, if you look at the differences between experiential approach and the compression approach, it is related to what you call discontinuous change, and it is related to incremental changes, right. It means here you are going to substitute technology and here you are going to make some changes in the established technology, right. The goal here is the speed, performance improvements, new dominant design. Here the goal is speed, lower costs, incremental improvements in the product in terms of performance. So, design of the product remains same, but here you go for a new design, a new product, right. That is the difference between what we call a discontinuous change and a continuous change, incremental change, right. The approach here is that you are going to build something that is new, different and better. Here you compress time, steps that is needed to bring about small improvements, right, and that is where compression takes place, right. That is related to what we call incremental changes. Then the steps, it means that you go through these steps that we talked about: design iterations, testing, the prototypes, looking at the review points, having functional teams to ensure that the product is developed properly, and support from the leaders. And here in compression you also have these steps through which you ensure that you are able to bring about some changes, incremental changes in the technology. So, what we have been talking about is two kind of changes, discontinuous changes and incremental changes, right, and how this discontinuous and incremental changes takes place with the help of innovation in products, processes and services, right. And finally, we are talking about what are the factors which facilitate innovations. These are the critical success factors. They are known as critical success factors, and this could be correct for both kind of technology, whether we are going for discontinuous change or technological discontinuity, or whether you are going for incremental changes, right. So, these include willingness to listen and to test new ideas. It means, this talks about the idea champions, where the sponsors and the idea champions are ready to accept or listen to people who are coming out with new ideas and ready to support them, so that they are able to test it. Communication is very, very important, and we already discussed about it. So, you need to ensure that it is communicated well to the top management, and top management is going to accept it, right. Then you also need to have a very strong culture, strong culture in terms of the culture of the organization. Then you also need to see that the systems and leadership practices that is adopted by the top management, and the kind of support which is required, and what kind of changes you are looking forward to. Then relationship at the workplace, supervisor subordinate relationship, because this kind of relationship actually helps you to establish coordination mechanism vertically and horizontally both. So, that is related to the structure of the organization. So, you need to ensure that your structure also facilitates innovation for change, right. So, you need to see that you have a vertical and horizontal linkages for better coordination across roles and responsibilities, right. Then it has to be planned effectively, especially in case of incremental changes, and also in case of radical changes. You need to see what kind of technology you want to bring, or what kind of innovations in products and services you want to bring about. Then sharing the information, this is very, very important, because if you want to get people involved in the process and you want the support of the team, then this must be the information related to anything, any new idea must be shared with everybody. And finally, monitoring and evaluation. So, if you have come out with a new product or a modified product, you need to see and monitor the performance, that how this changed product is working in terms of its performance, and if it is doing well, then we can say that yes, it is successful. So, we need to ensure that these critical success factors are identified, and the management is able to take care of these factors to ensure that innovation happens, so that organization is able to change itself for better future. Thank you very much.